Good day to you all. So, how did I get started in running at the age of 54? That's right, this June is my runniversary. 9 years I've been running and I'm now 63. So how did I get started in running? And yeah, it's going to be quite a story because I've not shared the whole thing with everybody throughout the series here on YouTube in the past. Well, I've been here on YouTube now 8 years. Yes, 8 years. So I'm going to go through, take on a little run, and we'll talk through how I got started, because I believe it's never too late to start, whatever your age. So how did I get started in running? How did I go from charity runner to representing England Masters at 10k, half marathon and marathon, with zero intention of that at all? And I 1000% had zero intention of running any marathons. Yeah, so let's go through how I got into it, and more to the point why. But I could do a whole story on my previous history of athleticism, but more to the point, lack of. But I had pre-recorded it and it went on for quite a while because it is a long story. I might do that as a separate video, but it's safe to say I weren't that good. No, in fact, I was so rubbish I'd get lapped all the time on various events. Yes, that's how bad I was in my youth. So let's get on to how and why I got started in running, because it's never too late to start. Hello, Heron? Yes, how did it all get started in a galaxy far, far away? Yeah, 9 years ago, right, I was working in South London and I saw a message on social media from a friend of mine, and he was looking for some runners to take part in the Birmingham Half Marathon for his charity, Hibbs Lupus Trust. And I'd helped John on a number of events, raised money, doing all sorts of things, and I thought, do you know what, let's give this a go. Because at the time I'd been used to doing endurance walks, long distance walks. I do love walking, and again, massive backstory there. I won't go into that detail, otherwise this video would probably be about 5 hours long, with the backstory of walking, backstory of my athleticism or lack of. But anyway, I thought 13 miles, I managed to walk 40 miles in a day, so running 13 miles would be a breeze. Yeah, you just off you go, nice and simple. Oh, how wrong I was. Basically, I went out for my first run, barely got to the end of the street. I was in absolute agony. Knees, ankles, feet, chest in particular was really tight and hurting. So I sat down in the park and I thought, I'm done. This lovely lady came over to check, are you okay? I thought, I'm obviously looking in a bad way here. So I walked back, messaged John and said, no, count me out, I can't run. So he then sent me a link of how you can walk and run these events, and I thought, oh, I thought these half marathons you're supposed to run them, race them, yeah? And he said, no, people walk them. And I thought, okay, let's enter and I'll walk it. That was the plan. But me being me, having entered, I saw there was some training plans on the Great Run website, so yes, I started doing the training. And it wasn't easy, definitely not easy, and I had no idea what I was doing. I started a Instagram page just to log my runs. I didn't have Strava like I do now, and I just followed this training plan, and step by step I got better and better. Well, I didn't know I was getting better and better, but I was, because come race day, despite having been admitted to hospital 2 weeks before with a suspect heart attack, which turned out not to be a heart attack, but my concern was, could I finish that race? And the doctor says, well, be careful, but you know, you should be okay. So I had no Garmin, no watches, no nothing for this race, and just went out, had a great time. But boy, those last 5 miles was really painful, and finished it, and whoa, it was what an epic achievement for me, because I felt over the moon with that. I felt such elation, couldn't wait to get back to the hotel, have a soak in the bath. But I finished so far ahead of my scheduled time that my kids arrived at the finish line area. I told them to arrive a bit early because I was anticipating 2 hours, 2 hours 10. Came in a time of 1 hour 46. Boom! But that's just part of the story. Yeah, what an incredible time that was. And I didn't know whether that was good, bad, indifferent, because as I said, I knew nothing about running. I wasn't running with my Garmin, didn't look at any of these race predictors or any of that stuff. I just went out and ran, and it was such a wonderful memory. But boy, as I said, the last few miles I was suffering, shall we say, and with the uphill finish, which it was then, not now, it's yeah, that was a toughie. So how did I go from zero intention of doing anything more after that? I definitely did not want to do a marathon. The way I felt at the end of that half marathon, I thought, wow, double that, no chance. But one thing after another happens, and yeah, I mean, I went back to my office, and a couple of my managers had finished marathons, ran marathons. One of them had done London, and she said, oh, you should do London Marathon. Now, this was around October, November time, so even then, 9 years ago, there was no chance of getting in. All the charity places had gone. Bit different now, it takes much longer for some charities to fill the places, but those are all gone. I thought, well, what about Brighton? Those are all gone. But then the company I was working for, the charity they were supporting, someone dropped out of Brighton Marathon, and the place came up, and that was around December time. So I thought, yeah, let's go for it. Now, bearing in mind I'd hardly been doing any running after the half marathon, I then had to do a particular run to ensure I could start the marathon training, and I didn't realise how quick the fitness disappears. But I got back into the training, followed this 16-week plan. Thankfully, the charity I was with, Cancer Research UK, had some professional coaches with me, and yeah, you've seen that video. That's what caused me to buy a GoPro, not the one I'm filming on right now, a couple of versions before, just to film me training runs, nothing fancy. I've always been a no edit person, because I'm not a video editor, videographer, and that's how the YouTube started. But again, it was just to document the journey to Brighton Marathon. Bought some kit, filmed the marathon, and that was it. I was done, ticking that big box, and I thought, that's it for me. But oh boy, how things change. Yes, as I said, I had no intention of going any further. Sound familiar? Just like right now, I have no intention of doing any ultras, anything beyond 26.2, no thanks. But yeah, so Brighton was done. But then a funny thing happened with the video, where for me it went a bit viral, and people could see that I was having a good time, and I had so many messages. It was absolutely brilliant, and I thought, you know what, they were saying how inspirational it was. I thought, you know, there might be something in me. So I went to the London Marathon Expo, even though, you know, anyone can walk in and have a look around. I don't know if you knew that. You don't have to be a London Marathon entry. Because I was working in London, it was easy for me to get there. Ended up bumping into the two professional coaches who were were coaching our charity group. Got chatting to them, and cut a long story short, managed to persuade top endurance coach to coach me, and I thought, right, let's go for an autumn marathon. And they put together the training plan for me. It was more personalised, and I always recommend, if you want to get really good, get a personal coach like me. Yeah. And fast forward to October, Frankfurt. I ran the marathon of my life, finished it in 3 hours 16 minutes, which, unbeknownst to me, until a few weeks later, a friend messaged me saying, you do realise that's qualified you for London, Boston, New York, Chicago. And by the time I went to apply for Chicago, the closing date had gone, so I missed that one. And but that's how it all started, and I've gone on then finding out about England Masters and all that wonderful group, which has enabled me to get competitive with my peers, and that's what I really love. But you don't have to be competitive to run. It's a bit like now, I'm just out enjoying a nice easy run, get the legs moving, and I didn't realise how much of a benefit it would have to me, both physically and mentally. Fast forward 8 years, 7 years from that marathon, and as I mentioned, I'm now running at England Masters. A couple of months ago I finished my fastest ever marathon, 3 hours and 2 minutes at Manchester. Absolutely loved it. But I'll be moving on to different distances, and if you're thinking of taking up running, all I would say is just lace up and join in, because you never know where it may lead you. And I look forward to seeing you all very soon. Yes, we have a few races to do in the next few weeks. Let's go. Thank you for sticking along to the very end. The question for you guys is, I've just been out on some Hoka Max 6, which I'm trying out on the 28-day trial. Yes, what colour do you think these shoes are? Yeah, they're advertised at a certain colour, but what colour do you actually think they are? I do feel like I've been running on some, or about to run, because I'm just filming before the run, about to run on a blancmange, a couple of blancmanges, cakes, especially with the sole being like the Thousand Island dressing. Sorry, not the Thousand Island dressing, hundreds of thousands that you put on top of a cake, you know, on the cream and all that. It does feel a very blancmange. But anyway, leave it in the comments below. What colour do you think these Hoka Max 6 are? Yeah, that's right, it's the Hoka Max 6. Well, as an addendum to the addendum, this is the first time I've been out on the Hoka Max 6. Now, I don't do shoe reviews per se, because everyone has an opinion about those, but I've got to say, these shoes feel super spongy, bouncy and all that jazz. But then I would expect them to, because my everyday runner has been the Saucony Ride 15, which is quite firmer. So the proof will be in the pudding though. So I'm going to try these on one of the races coming up in the next 3 weeks, because I've got 28 days of these shoes, and let's see how we get on for real. Do love them though, despite the colour. But that was more of a, I knew it's a one-off and they're going back after 28 days. Oh, look at this. Swans and their signets. There's 6 of them. How cool is that? So, let's get the, here's the swans. Is that addendum 4? How cool is that? Coming across the swans and their signets. So quite a collection of wildlife today. Yes, along with the heron. First thing while starting the run this morning. But yeah, the wonders of wildlife whilst out on a run.